prepare for civil war. That is what we're hearing from many experts here in the United States. They are telling us that the federal government and the city and state officials are going to clash. Well, we're already seeing it, and now we are seeing so much chaos and disruption just in the city of Los Angeles. But according to experts, they are saying this is not where it ends, this is where it begins. But we're going to break down what has happened over the past 48 hours, what we're seeing in Los Angeles, and why we should be very concerned about the direction that we're currently headed. So I'm going to break all this down in just a moment, but first, before I do, all I ask is one thing. It takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now, let's begin. So let's get right down to it. It says, what to know after weekend of LA protests over immigration raids. It says Governor Gavin Newsome said he would challenge the legality of President Donald Trump's National Guard deployment as protesters clash with police in downtown Los Angeles. Now, yes, we know that President Trump wants to send the National Guard to Los Angeles. He also made it very clear that he would send U.S. troops, put them on the ground in Los Angeles if he needed to. He would send them from Camp Pendleton. Now, that's the plan if things go really south. But Gavin Newsome is saying that no, it's not legal to send the National Guard in and have them go and frighten the millions of citizens of Los Angeles. Well, I want to play something for you. Look at this right here. This is just what we've seen over the past 48 hours. Look at this.
From our content partners out in Fox 11 LA, you can see the damage and destruction on your screen. This is President Donald Trump. He did hope the deployment of 2,000 National Guard members to Los Angeles would help quell ongoing anti-immigration protests there. But critics say it's doing the opposite, citing escalating tensions in the City of Angels.
That's exactly right. When President Trump sent the 2,000 National Guard members to the city of Los Angeles, the goal was to create some type of calmness, to de-escalate the situation. However, it was actually the adverse effect, where now it actually increased tensions. There's been more destruction since the National Guard arrived than before. So it did the complete opposite. I want to play this clip for you, though. This is from Mike Pompeo. Listen to this, though. Okay, listen to this and what he has to say.
I want to begin by sharing a tweet from our Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth. I think it's apropos, given what's happening in Los Angeles. It reads in part, the Defense Department is mobilizing the National Guard immediately to support federal law enforcement in Los Angeles. And if violence continues, active duty Marines at Camp Pendleton will also be mobilized. They are on high alert.
I want to read you what the guy didn't read. It says the violent mob assaults on ICE and federal law enforcement are designed to prevent the removal of criminal illegal aliens from our soil. A dangerous, invasion facilitated by criminal cartels, aka foreign terrorist organizations, and a huge national security risk. Under President Trump, violence and destruction against federal agents and federal facilities will not be tolerated. It's common sense. Keep in mind, okay, when he says that the violent mob assaults, on ICE and federal agents, the purpose for that is because they want to prevent the removal of criminal illegal aliens. Well, this goes back and forth. And again, what we've seen over the past several months is there are certain people that are being looked at. They're being investigated, found, and they are being removed from the country. And those are very violent criminals here in the United States. And not just somebody that came in illegally. I understand that's technically a crime. But here's where many of the citizens of Los Angeles, which again are, a lot of them are Hispanic. Well, they're fighting for their family members who are being discriminated against because the color of their skin, the way they talk, the way they look. And so that's where some are saying, well, if we have all these ICE agents coming into our city, just sitting around Home Depot waiting for somebody that they say, it looks like somebody we're looking for. And then they ask them questions. Who are you? What's your name? Are you here legally? And then they find out, no, they're not, and they try to deport them back to their home country. It's turning into a bigger issue. This is where Gavin Newsome says, no, I don't want you in my city. Well, this is where experts say it's turning into a clash between a state governor, Gavin Newsome, and then the president of the United States himself, President Trump. And this is where they say if these two start butting heads, this is what's going to cause a civil war here in the United States, where it's going to be the federal government with the National Guard and military personnel. They're going to come in and they're going to be fighting against the citizens, the residents, probably more accurate, okay, the residents of Los Angeles, some of which are going to be citizens, some of which will be, upstanding citizens, great in their community, but are fighting for the protection of their friends and their family members. That's what we're hearing. Now, what does this mean? Well, especially going forward, based off of what people are saying, this isn't going to be the only protest that happens. This isn't going to be the only city that sees the residents going up against ICE agents, going up against the local police department. The local police department's trying to help and de-escalate the situation, but in some cases it's not. Arresting people, then it just turns into more violence. People throwing bricks at cars, people throwing rocks. The one thing that we don't want is obviously something to turn fatal. That's when things will go from bad to worse. And I said this just the other day. Some believe that this on Saturday was the calm before the storm. Was Sunday the storm? I doubt it. Okay, I highly doubt it. But it wasn't any better than Saturday. The protests just got a little more intense. More people were involved. And as more people here in the United States start to see this, start to see what's going on, they're going to form their own opinion. Do they want to be part of the protest? Or do they agree with what President Trump and ICE are doing? Again, there's two sides here. It's just what side are you on? Now, here's the one thing I want to leave you with. There's going to be a very difficult time over the next several months. We know that. This right here is a catalyst. Okay, what we've seen in Colorado, okay, where a terrorist or somebody that was labeled as a terrorist, okay, taking the lives of innocent people. This is what we're gonna see. Is okay, something bad happens. Is the person here legally? If they are, okay, then it's still a bad thing. But is that potentially okay that they stay here, right? And then you got the other side is, okay, something bad happens. They take the life of somebody, massive, just casualties, injuries, whatever. But they're not here legally. That's going to be just a bigger fight to, okay, we got to get rid of all illegal immigrants. That's what we're going to see. We see this all the time when it happens with gun violence. Okay? Somebody takes the life of another person using a weapon, and then everyone comes out and says, you know what, we got to ban weapons. This is what we are facing. But based off what experts are saying, this is only going to cause more chaos and potentially a civil unrest amongst the American people and the federal government. So we'll see what happens over the next handful of days if things get somewhat de-escalated or if they intensify. But based off what experts are saying, to prepare for civil war over the next several months.